This video was created by Vinylic Puma of Vinylic Puma Gaming.
So each of the Borderlands games have some pretty exotic and cool looking locations. I might go as far to say that some of the locations in Borderlands the pre-sequel are some of the best from all of the Borderlands games. Number one on this particular list might just be one of the most creative and interesting levels in all of the Borderlands games so far. So let's go ahead and go over what I think are the top 6 most interesting levels and locations in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Number 6, the Hyperion Hub of Heroism. So first off, I added the Hyperion Hub of Heroism because I always wanted to go to the Hyperion Moonbase back when I was primarily playing Borderlands 2. I always had a feeling that they could do some amazing things with the Hyperion Moonbase. And really, overall, I really like the aesthetic of the Hyperion Hub of Heroism, even though it's all just yellow. It's a pretty area, and in some places it even looks like there's a sky with some clouds, and obviously while the clouds are artificial, the area looks like it could actually feasibly have been on Pandora. There's also a side quest here that is both a Star Wars reference as well as a light Family Guy reference. The quest is called Kill Meg, and you reenact the scene in Star Wars A New Hope where Luke, Leia, Han, and Chewie are in the trash compactor with a giant snake-like enemy. The Thresher's name is Meg, and for those of you that have seen the Family Guy Star Wars parodies, you'll notice Meg, the character in Family Guy, plays that same snake-like creature. Now, Meg can drop the Torrent SMG, which is a really powerful dual SMG in Borderlands the pre-sequel, and Corporal Bob, who also appears in this area at random, can drop the Ak Oz kit. So I think this place is worth the visit. Number 5, Tycho's Ribs. Tycho's Ribs may have one of the coolest floor and wall textures from any Borderlands game. Some of the wall textures are this really cool, like reflective purple color that looks very futuristic. It's also worth mentioning that the Holodome DLC location also shares the very same texture as do portions of the Elisir area in Borderlands the pre-sequel. There's also an interesting Claptrap NPC in Tycho's Ribs called Zayton Trap. He's best described as a hippie slash pot smoker Claptrap. He has a side quest where you collect putties from OVA enemies in the next area, Elisir, and return them to him in Tycho's Ribs. It's kind of funny, but I just realized this. Zayton Trap is actually similar to the Zaytons from Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. And pretty much the Zaytons are the aliens that are from the Fallout universe, so we could even say that Zayton Trap is a Fallout reference. Otherwise, Tycho's Ribs has a giant doll canyon that you can man, and you actually have to use in order to progress through the main quest. Otherwise, though, this area is mostly just a place that you pass through in order to get to the final areas of the vanilla game and complete the main quest. Number 4. Research and Development. As far as the Hyperion Moonbase goes, I think the Research and Development Wing is the most interesting level or location. I'd also go as far to say that this area is the most interesting area from the vanilla game of Borderlands the pre-sequel, in my humble opinion. Research and Development features an aquatic Pandora Highlands and other areas that replicate elements of Elpis with various Torque enemies. The areas that are inspired by the Pandora Highlands feature stalkers, and the aquatic areas are crowded with Dahl soldiers. Unfortunately, there are no unique, like, underwater enemies, and actually it would have been really cool if they had added that in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Now, what's also cool about Research and Development is that you can meet a miniature version of the Destroyer from Borderlands 1 in the mysterious Lab 19. There's also a side quest called Infinite Loop that involves 2 Claptrap units, and depending on who you side with, you can either get the Snowball Grenade, which is kind of meh, or you can get the Mining Laser, which is a really nice Hyperion laser in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Number 3, the Cortex. So the Cortex is an arena-style location similar to many of the Circle of Slaughter areas from Borderlands 2. This area is where you fight Shadow Trap in the main quest for the Claptastic Voyage DLC, and Shadow Trap can drop the Rerouter, which is pretty much Borderlands the Pre-Sequel's answer to Borderlands 2's B-Shield, and the Laser Discer, which might possibly be one of the best Tediore weapons from Borderlands the Pre-Sequel. Once you've beaten the story missions for Claptastic Voyage, you can return here to play through a Radiant mission called Leet Haxers. This quest allows you to modify several different parameters. You can modify gravity. You can choose whether you want to play in a vacuum or an atmosphere. You can increase the magazine size of your guns. You can boost your character's movement speed, and those are just to name a few. You can also get access to difficulty sliders, which boost or decrease the difficulty of the arena-style challenge. And really, the Cortex, or a level that's similar to it, would make an awesome precursor to some kind of moddable area for Borderlands 3. Honestly, I think it would be really cool if Gearbox could somehow combine the dummy from Sanctuary from Borderlands 2 and the Cortex into kind of more of a sandbox thing where it doesn't actually require a challenge in order to do it. That way people could mess around with the in-game physics and shoot their guns and have them do these weird things. It could be really interesting to have something that will speed up or slow down projectiles and all sorts of crazy stuff. Maybe you could even make some of your own weapons. That would be really cool too. Just an idea. Maybe Gearbox will do it, maybe they won't. Number 2, Cluster 00773 Pandora. So, like with the Arid Nexus Badlands area from Borderlands 2, I decided to add Cluster 00773 Pandora purely out of nostalgia. Unlike some of the areas in Borderlands 1, this is actually a surprisingly varied area. What I do think is weird about this particular area is that it features a glitched or skewed representation of the town of Firestone, as this area looks considerably different than it does in the first and second Borderlands games. There are also areas of Cluster 00773 that show Hyperion recovering the Eye of the Destroyer from Borderlands 1. This, of course, explains how the Eye of the Destroyer became part of the Hyperion Moon Laser in the events that take place in the pre-sequel. The Pandora Cluster contains a lot of cool weapons, side quests, and some interesting NPCs. Specifically, Rose Tinting features Minak from Borderlands 1. If you complete the side quest, you can acquire a laser called Minak's Atonement, which is a dull blaster that fires either a random fire, shock, or corrosive projectile. Then there's the Data Mining Adventure side quest, which allows you to data mine Claptrap's mine for private or personal information. You eventually meet Shame, who is an NPC that embodies Claptrap's shame. At this point, it's up to you to stand up and protect your private data, or kill your shame. Number 1. The Subconscious. Now, in my opinion, the Subconscious is probably the best area in Borderlands the Pre-Sequel, both from the vanilla game and all of its DLC. And I actually might go a little bit further there and say that this area might just be the most interesting level or location from all of the Borderlands games. The Subconscious consists of a series of islands that are just floating in place. There are several places of interest, though. Once you go down the hole inside of the vaulthunter.exe location, there's a place called the Subconscious. This area is heavily inspired by the paintings of M.C. Escher. There's also a Lucasfilm reference with the Temple of Boom, which is obviously a reference to the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom movie. This is odd, but you can also visit TK Baja's house in this area, which is bizarre considering that you can't go there in Cluster 00773 Pandora, which is the actual geographical location of TK Baja's house in Borderlands 1 and 2. The Subconscious contains side quests or farmable bosses that have some really good weapons and gear in Borderlands the Pre-Sequel as well. You can get the Shield of Ages here, you can get the Thunderfire, and you can get the Tannis Laser of Enlightenment. You can also get the unique Glitch Cutie Killer SMG as well. Anyway, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you like this video on the pre-sequel, leave a like. Let me know what your favorite level or location is in Borderlands the pre-sequel. As always, take care, and I'll see y'all next time.